He's twisting my arm again. So we need donations to keep on the air because Justin Trudeau, well, we didn't ask him, but he wouldn't give us any money anyway because most people on this station do not think highly of him. And please subscribe. Lots of it talked about decolonization. Windsor Law School put out a document saying, we are all for decolonization. We are going to be teaching it in the law school, which they reorganized and rebuilt for, quote, decolonization. They said we are having 3 smudging areas for ceremonies in the law school at the Detroit River. Karen Restoule is an Ojibwe Indian of the Dokis Nation. She's a smart woman. She is a consultant with Crestview Strategies. She deals with a lot of really tough issues. And she joins me today because your reputation is so wonderful. I'll put the question to you. What is decolonization? You sort of pour water on everything?
Yeah. It's a pretty good question, and it's a pretty popular question these days because there's a lot of Canadian institutions at all levels across the country that are purporting to decolonize their, the way they do business.
Is it all baloney? What do they do?
Listen, I think it's all very Canadian in that, like true Canadians, people are doing the right thing by recognizing that some policies and some processes are really kind of impeding Indigenous people from accessing services in an equal way.
That's not colonization. I mean, that's the Indian Act put by the federal government.
Exactly. So while I can respect the intent of it, I think to attempt to decolonize institutions that have been around for 100, 130 years, when we think of universities, for example, I find that kind of a head scratcher, to be frank.
If we decolonize, we would get rid of all the stuff, or most of the stuff that Canadian society is based.
Let's say if a university were to decolonize, they would actually just get rid of the building and go back to the bush and teach.
So how silly is that?
Teach on the land and experiential learning, which is not silly if you're Indigenous, but at the same time, you might be challenged to see other non-Indigenous Canadians paying $20,000, $30,000 of tuition to access teachings and learnings from, or what would be expected from a university setting.
So Karen, is this just a way to assuage some of the guilt that some Canadians may have when they think that we have treated Indians poorly, which we have? I mean, governments have, there's no question about that. And instead of rectifying the wrongs, we'll just say the cool thing, we're decolonizing.
It is a trend, in my view. It shouldn't stifle efforts to make things better and to break down barriers and level the playing field. To be clear, I am a fan of that.
Right.
But I'm also a huge fan of those universities who are supporting, let's say, the revitalization of Indigenous laws, led by John Burroughs and Val Napoleon at the University of Victoria and at University of Toronto.
There are real things that can be done.
Absolutely.
We'll talk more about that on another show. Karen, thank you very much. 3 minutes. This show provides independent analysis of the issues. We are not paid by the government. And as I am finding, so much business in Canada relies upon various governments that they don't want to sponsor or advertise on a show which may become controversial, which talks about liberty, freedoms, sometimes criticizes government. I've had guests on that support the government. But people are saying, you know what? We don't want to bite the hand that feeds us, i.e. government, which is why I hope you'll subscribe and contribute to keep this show on the air.